Kenya is struggling to meet the challenge of providing their young people with the skills they need to find decent work. Youth unemployment remains high, and young people lack entrepreneurial skills to create employment in growing sectors. UNESCO believes that education is a human right for all, and that access must be matched by quality. The organization is mandated to provide global and regional leadership in education, strengthen education systems worldwide, and respond to contemporary global challenges through education with gender equality as an underlying principle. Technical and vocational skills development is one of its main themes. In Kenya, UNESCO's Bear2 project, Better Education for Africa's Rise, aims to respond to these challenges by improving the relevance, quality, and perception of technical and vocational education and training (TVET) in the environmental sector. This is being done through updating curricula, better train teachers, boost infrastructure, and engage employers and enterprises in helping TVET to focus on specific sectors carefully chosen for their potential for creating competitive jobs.
The Better Education for Africa's Rise, Bear2, is a joint program between UNESCO and the Republic of Korea. This project covered 5 countries. We have the Ethiopia, the Kenya, the Uganda, and also the Tanzania. In Kenya, we are working with the different national stakeholders. This project has been built based on some strategies. And among the strategies, we have the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is managed by UNESCO. We have also some regional initiative like the MAHEC process, which is a regional initiative on how to develop the TVET in the Eastern African development community. But also the UNESCO TVET strategy, which covered 3 aspects. We have how we improve the TVET through the development of relevant curriculum in line with economic needs by integrating the gender, but also to take a consideration of the sustainable developments.
Historically, TVET was seen to be an option for those who are not able to advance in general education, where you know from high school you straight away go to the university, and if by any chance you are not able to get that opportunity, people were seeing TVET as a fallback. However, with the reforms that we have put in place in terms of making this education of quality and relevance, and be able to link the skills development to employability and also supporting the key, as I said, key priority areas.
The project Bear2 has 3 expected results. The first one is related to how enhancing the relevance of TVET by developing very relevant labor market analysis, very relevant curriculum. The second expected result is about around the development of the quality of TVET by developing the capacities of all the stakeholders. And the last expected result is how to develop the perception and the attractiveness of TVET.
By enhancing relevance of TVETs, the Bear2 project is committed to developing education curricula that are holistic, ambitious, and aspirational. During Bear2, a relevant and inclusive labor market analysis and curricula has been developed, leading to relevant learning outcomes.
FKE is an umbrella body for employers in this country. So Bear2 that seeks to influence the quality of education and to influence the performance of our economy in the market, not just locally or regionally, but globally, is very important to us. Skills is a big issue for employers. We've talked about skills mismatch for many years. So Bear2 has come in to ease that conversation and to enhance the collaboration between employers, the private sector, and government.
The skills that we are developing currently is for the private sector. And that's why all the curriculum that we have to develop must be in line with the industry and the private sector need. And once those young people are trained and upgraded, they will be also hired by the private sector. That means that the private sector is at the beginning, but also at the end of the TVET process.
BET2 brings in this element which is extremely important and urgent for the private sector. In one way, as you see, skills development is critical, but ultimately what we're looking for is workforce that can be able to drive the general agenda that is there in the private sector, which is to generally drive the economic growth of this country, being able to make sure that our young people are getting decent employment, and as such, they are able to live decent and productive full lives.
We're not talking about, thousands of jobs. We're talking about probably hundreds of thousands of job opportunities. So this is a sector that has a lot of promise for young people. And my thinking is that not only should they try and join, I think even the government itself should try and have more young people actually getting into the sector.
The main stakeholders involved in the BET2 are mainly all those stakeholders around the TVET. Among them, we can highlight the teacher training centers. We have the teachers inside the different institutions. We have also the managers of the institutions at the operational level. We have also the ministries of the Ministry of TVET and all the ministries around the TVET.
Kenya National Chamber of Commerce has taken pride to be highly involved within the BET2 project. And our involvement is because as an organization, we are the overarching or the all-encompassing organization that looks at every sector of business, and we're able to then represent all these businesses and their interests. My role is mainly to ensure that young people find a space on the table within the commercial sector of business and are able to be integrated into business and grow their capacity as business people and entrepreneurs within the Kenyan economy.
Through BET2, we'll be able to address this skills gap and also to help employers, because often employers, when seeking new employees, do not find the right quality of people they need, and yet there are many young people who are looking for jobs.
Skills development is very critical in terms of supporting the socio-economic development of this country. And what we are doing at the moment is, first of all, prioritizing our training based on the key priority sectors of our socio-economic in the country, and developing skills and profiling these skills is very important, so that the skills gateway will be able to inform the kind of the skills that are already developed and available in the country, and even those people who are interested in coming to invest in this country, do business in this country, will be able to check and see what kind of the skills sets that we have, as we know that is a very critical factor when it comes to productivity. At the same time, also, we want to use this platform to be able to market some of our young people who will be interested in getting opportunities outside this country, as dictated by some of the protocol that we have already signed regionally and within the continent, especially like the free transfer of skilled workforce across the region.
All that we are doing now is to support finally the implementation of the curriculum, because that is the most important part of the TVET strategy implementation. And if you see that, we must develop this curriculum based on the economical needs. And the labor market analysis recommendation shows that which curriculum is relevant based on the different recommendation and result emanating from the LMA.
We train them communication skills to enable them fit very well in the workplace, numeracy skills, if there are any issues of numeracy that will be required, digital literacy, as you're aware, because of the continuing changes that are taking place. Then we teach them entrepreneurial skills, such that they can go out and now they can be employers. They themselves, they can be employers other than being just employees. And then we also train them. We are talking of renewable energy. There is a unit on the provision of occupational health and safety service.
We have transformed our approaches in curriculum delivery, because initially we were wholly based on the 844 system of education, and as it stands today, we have embraced CBC at the basic education and CBET at the TVET sector. I appreciate the position of CBET because it helped to shape up the programs in TVET, to revitalize, to revamp it so that we are able to move smoothly as concerns upskilling our youth and able to give them the desired skills quite effectively and efficiently so that they can fit in the labor market.
We have already done many things in Kenya. The first thing that I wanted to highlight based on the first expected result related to relevance of TVET is the labor market analysis. In Kenya, we targeted the environmental technology. Considering Kenya, inside we have developed the labor market analysis, and in these studies we have analyzing what was the most relevant sectors. And inside the environment technology, we have analyzing the solar PV, the solar photovoltaic energy. We have succeeded to develop the capacity building of the different stakeholders, integrating the private sector, the TVET institutions, and all the stakeholders.
KTTC in full is Kenya Technical Trainers College. It is a college situated in Nairobi. It is the only technical institution that trains technical teachers for the country and for the East African region. And it's also the center of technical education, particularly in the East African region. We train technical trainers that go and train in technical colleges in Kenya and across the East African region.
By virtue of having TVET, we can always gear towards teaching interventions that will better enable the students to be able to cope with the existing industry needs. Given that the industry keeps on changing, job needs keep on changing, the industry needs keep on changing, we try to achieve a situation where the students can actually gain their academic qualifications, but in the long run, once they exit, they are also relevant in the industry.
My name is Dan Kanirungu. When I finished my high school, I decided to do some bit of practicals in technical works, in buildings. After 1 year, I decided to join Kenya Technical Trainers College to pursue in building and construction.
We believe quality fosters creativity and knowledge and ensures the acquisition of the foundational skills and other high-level cognitive, interpersonal, and social skills. We are also committed to strengthening science, technology, and innovation. Through the Skills Gateway and Open Distance Learning, ODEL, Bear 2 has harnessed information and communication technologies, ICTs, to strengthen the TVET system. The curriculum is intended to instill values and attitudes by including career guidance and counseling that enable citizens to lead healthy and fulfilling lives.
Private sector also is looking for innovations, and Bear 2 has elements around capacity building, which then spurs area elements of innovation that, from a technological point of view, that the industry is looking for. More importantly, and I think a key element in the Bear 2 program is this element of policy advocacy, and the fact that it has a very robust M&E framework that then looks at what are we learning and how can these lessons learned improve the general skills development environment in the country in which the private sector is key.
This curricula, I may say, it's in demand driven. For a curricula to be adopted, one, it must be validated by the members of industry. It's the industry people who will employ the same graduates. It's the industry people who will set specific standards for that specific sector.
We have also developed currently Kenyan Skills Gateway, which is very important platforms that will support the country. But also considering the COVID-19 situation, we have developed a COVID-19 response, and Kenya has been supported through KTTC by developing a learning management system, to promote the open distance learning.
We have trained over 600 people in different parts of Kenya, in fact, in the entire Republic of Kenya.
The partnership in the BR2 has borne a lot of fruit, both at KTTC and nationally. First, we had the National Learning Management System being put in place, and it is hosted at KTTC. We have the technical staff at KTTC whose capacity has been built on how to manage the LMS. We have e-learning content now available on the learning management system. Two of the content was developed through support from BEAR2, that is solar PV and diploma in civil engineering part 3. It is imperative that we look at the diametric shift when you want to think about the digital transformation of TVET. Through ODEL, we are going to have a situation where training taking place in our TVET institutions is going to be flexible and blended, with most of the cognitive parts being covered online, and part of the practical task also being covered online through simulations, virtual realities and augmented realities. Then we have a scenario where the other practical aspects are covered face-to-face in the TVET institutions. We also have other content on the national LMS that is being used to train trainers across the country. So these are professional development courses meant to build capacity of trainers across the country on how to integrate ICT into the teaching and learning processes. So through support from the BEAR2 project, we also now have a website for ODEL in TVET, and through this particular website, all stakeholders within the country will be able to get up-to-date information about ODEL in TVET in the country. And through that particular website also, the stakeholders will be able to access the learning management system. They'll also be able to access the repository for online resources, and they'll also be able to access any other information from the government with regards to ODEL in TVET.
DT will ensure that the curricula that has been developed is adopted in the lead institutions and also in all other TVET institutions. And once curricula has been developed by the Curriculum Development and Certification Center, it is ready for use by all institutions for purposes of training.
By upskilling these liaison officers, they are now able to appreciate the labor market, so that they have the ability to understand the market intelligence so as to address the aspect of skills mismatch by understanding the industrial requirement, and thereby as they develop the curriculum, they are able to tailor the curriculums which are trendy and which will enable our youth to become relevant and to be easily taken up by the industrial sector. Again, there was the bit that we realized that the need to upskill them in entrepreneurial competencies. There is an importance that in the view of training them in various skills, they should also be equipped with entrepreneurial competencies so that they can be able to establish themselves and progressively be able to become entrepreneurs who indeed will be of good value to this important country that we have.
The other thing that has also supported this is where government is providing capitation to TVET. Initially, the help loan and some sort of bursaries were only available for university students. But now we have availed the same for TVET, and that is what is supporting the increased enrollment in TVET.
BEAR2 is ensuring promotion of quality lifelong learning because the perception and attractiveness of TVET in Kenya is vital. Inclusion and equity in and through education is a cornerstone of a transformative education agenda. BEAR2's strategy is aimed at addressing all forms of exclusion and marginalization, disparities and inequalities in access, participation, and learning outcomes.
We have seen a lot of interest, both by students and the parents, and by extension also the government giving a lot of support, to an extent that there is an upward trend in terms of people now getting to understand the importance of TVET. And we saw over 2,000 students changing from various university programs into TVET. First of all, the investment that the government and the development partners have already put in the sector through improved in infrastructure, equipment, employment of qualified trainers, and also getting the market-driven curriculum. And we are working very closely with the industry, where there is also people moving from training straight away to either salaried employment or getting to self-employed because they already have the relevant skills. And we expect this one to grow, and especially when we are going to implement what we are calling the 100% transition from one level of education to the other.
Private sector comes last when you're discussing TVET. And so Beatu actually put private sector on the front. And we believe that this is a project that's really going to set pace for the rest of the investments around TVET, where the demand side takes preeminence over the supply. We have no challenge around supply, and private sector is able to play all these roles together, be it in the policy space, where we actually be able to marshal a more dedicated, organized and structured advocacy agenda, to the implementation level, where we are also able to guide the TVET ecosystem on what the industry needs, what are the trends, what are the new technological developments, where should our priorities be.
The Beatu project has had a lot of impact across Kenya, and particularly in the last year, even though COVID pandemic was there, we've been able to go online in most of the projects. We have also the learning management system that is used by the whole country, and it's something that we are proud of to host. We are also happy that we have been conscious of the Sustainable Development Goals and their impact of the environment on them. That is why one of the training that we had was the solar PV training that went online for most of our courses.
We realized that there has been some kind of lack of information. There are people who do not really understand what TVET entails. So we realized that by giving proper information, sharing this information to our people in a more informed way, they will be able to recognize the position of TVET in the world economy. The officers who have been appointed in these institutions as liaison officers were really not very keen on the needs of the youth as they came into the TVET institutions. So by taking them through this important program, we were able now to address those gaps and upskill them so that they are able to address the needs of the youth as they walk into the technical institutions.
The perception of technical courses and the university courses, according to me, the technical courses are more important. In technical courses where we do most of practicals, which makes us innovative on what to do after our course.
My view on both one who has been to a training institution and one who is totally green is that one who has been to a technical institution has the knowledge, the technical know-how, how to do construction, how to build from scratch. One who has been from the village and they are totally green, theirs will be a little bit more of work because we have to engage them, we have to teach them. So it's like we are more or less a school, at the same time training them. So that's the whole difference. The advantage I would say is that one from a technical institution is that it will be efficient work at the end of the day. Less time with good products.
If we improve how people see TVET, it will help in creation of jobs for the youth and for women. In a class of 20 people, we have 3 women. We hope that UNESCO can improve the way people see TVET institutions for more ladies to join us in the institution.
The renewable energy sector in Kenya is among the most active in Africa. There is a promising potential for power generation from renewable energy sources which rely on TVET skills. In Kenya, Unesco, supported by Republic of Korea funds in trust, is implementing this policy through the Bear2 project by partnering with Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority to develop curricula that incorporates renewable energy.
Why is this important? Because so far, there's a lot of localization of solar photovoltaic and generally renewable energy expertise to Nairobi. And given the scale at which the country needs to electrify, we will need renewable energy practitioners all around the country. The institutions, that's education institutions which are closest to a lot of rural areas in Kenya, are TVETs.
The reason why I chose this course is first, it has always been my passion to bring an impact when it comes to the community, and I knew the best way to do this is through renewable energy space, especially that the world is aligning itself towards this direction.
One of the UNESCO UNIVOC target for technical colleges is greening of TVET. This component is very critical because we know TVET is a polluter.
The renewable energy is a very important solution in terms of energy provision in the different Eastern African countries. Thus, renewable energy is a very important part that will help all the Kenyan citizens to access on energy. That is a part of the different parameters of development of each country.
We are implementing programs that support energy sector and more so renewable energy and sustainability in terms of environmental protection. Energy is a very critical factor in our development and more so in terms of improving on productivity. We know it's a factor that if not well handled, it increases the cost of production. And more so since we are looking at the alternative and renewable energy, first of all, we are going to put skills that will help the country increase and scale up the utilization of renewable energy, clean energy, and we also expect it to improve on environmental protection.
From the approach itself, it started with the labor market analysis where we identified need areas in training in the sector of technology in energy, that is solar PV, that's a solar photovoltaic. So it is very important that the analysis was done and gaps identified where the specific areas that Kenya needs currently in the area of energy was identified. We expect this new technology to improve supply of cheap energy and sustainable energy in Kenya.
Our inspiration for setting up the Energy Research Center was informed by the gap on energy access, specifically modern energy access in sub-Saharan Africa. We were then established to address this gap by providing research training and research capacity building and quality management that would then feed into increasing the modern energy access rates in Kenya and in sub-Saharan Africa at large.
I came to realize that the amount of solar PV plants installed in the world is 600 gigawatts, but in Africa we've only given 5 gigawatts. That's 1% of the total globally. Yet we have the largest resource of solar energy, but still don't have electricity. And I decided, why don't I take the opportunity to learn how this system works. My background is mechanical engineering, and I needed to learn more on how to do the sizing, designing, and installation to be the part of a team that's going to help in achieving SDG number 7 globally, mainly targeting my region, that's Sub-Saharan Africa, and better yet, East Africa community.
For a long time, we've always depended on electricity. We've never thought along solar and all that. At times we go for days, even 2 days without electricity. That means work stops. But with solar, we'll be sure of work continuing on and working on, and it's less costly. And if you can minimize the cost, the better for us.
Education transforms lives and is at the heart of UNESCO's mission to build peace, eradicate poverty, and drive sustainable development. The Bear2 project is aligned with the 2030 Education Agenda and the 2016 to 2021 UNESCO Strategy for TVET. Through relevance, quality, and perception, Kenya is a beneficiary country in that the BEAR2 project has transformed the TVET systems in a perspective of sustainable development through sectoral interventions and capacity building activities.
When the graduates leave the institute, it is equally crucial for them to be tracked so that they can be recorded, documented, and now be presented as successes for our youth so that they appreciate how the programs in the TVET subsector can build our economy.
According to what I got after my course, I'm able to be my own boss.
This BEAR2 project by Unesco has helped me and will help more women join TVET.
TVET is a very strong tool to allow everybody to access on work. And that is a main condition to have a social stabilization in this country. It's important for the government to give the possibility to different citizens to access on TVET.
We honestly are not going to achieve anything without localization of the workforce, and I don't think we're going to achieve localization without TVETs. Kenyans really need to see TVETs as opportunities, places of opportunity for young people to be able to access jobs and to build renewable energy infrastructure in rural communities.
Parting shot on this is we want to use this project to be a benchmark so that other sources of energy, because we are only looking at solar, we have other sources of renewable energy like wind, geothermal, and so others, that we can also mount other projects that will be able to support skills development in this area and scale up the utilization of renewable energy in this country and continue to protect our environment.
In the education sector, in UNESCO, we have the Education 2030 policy based on the Sustainable Development Goal, which cover all the education sector. That's now the Sustainable Development Goal 4. And UNESCO has the responsibility of implementation of SDG 4. And as I mentioned, the BEAR2 project has been built based on the SDG 4 by integrating the different targets, which part of the different indicators that we are targeting in the different countries.